Welcome you back to the Landon Bussie program here on the Brave Sports Network, 91.7 WPRL, WPRL.org. We're on Facebook Live, WPRL, and we're on YouTube, Brave Sports Network. Charles Edmond, our producers, Jamario Brooks, Cedric Tillman. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen, Braves head basketball coach Landon Bussie. Just a few hours ago, getting off the plane in Jackson. A really quick trip, by the way. I enjoyed it, slept both legs of it. Little, nonetheless, a big weekend and trying to get back on track. Landon Bussie, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Can't complain.
Tough night last night. We'll get into that. But overall, your thoughts on the Florida swing?
Went down to Bethune, and I think that we had a really solid performance out there. Defensively, we wasn't where we wanted to be, but we still found a way to pull the win out. Then come down to Tallahassee, and defensively, we're just not where we're supposed to be right now. And unfortunately, we wasn't able to pull the win out. I think they did a good job of making shots. I think they made some tough shots, and we didn't make shots. So it's tough.
Yeah, it is tough, definitely, for sure. That Florida swing, it was a little bit different. I know you don't make excuses staying in Orlando, driving an hour out, and you made the trip from Orlando to Daytona that Friday just to get some shots up, and then had to turn around 12, 13, 14 hours later, do it again. I mean, I know you don't make any excuses, but definitely a different from a logistical standpoint. So let's start with Bethune-Cookman. I thought about it. They were a little shorthanded. I saw that in the box score against Texas Southern. They were shorthanded, but yet they kept battling. I thought, Coach, we had control of the game, but Bethune-Cookman just wouldn't go away. And then all of a sudden, they started knocking shots down late, and we had to execute down the stretch, protect the basketball, make free throws. And so when you look at that, Tankersley was 9 for 9 from the free throw line. Jalik Gaines-Wyatt was solid from the free throw line. What was the challenge dealing with Bethune the second go round?
I think just dealing with the second go round is they starting to gel. They starting to understand where the ball needs to go, who needs to take the shot, who needs to have the ball late in the game. And they just, falling into all of Reggie Thea's system. So I think it's just more so them guys starting to gel and understand where the ball's supposed to go.
And you see there for those watching, Jalik Gaines-Wyatt with a steal and a layup. The ball wasn't sticking, Coach. I thought the basket looked like the size of an ocean. We're just getting kind of what we wanted. Daniel Braster with the nice ball fake and the bucket. It looked like we were really crisp and sharp in the early part of the game.
Yeah, I mean, we was pretty offensively early on. Jalik and Marcus took over the boatload of scoring, and we got out in transition and running. But overall, I mean, I think that the ball was we was making shots. Dan came in the game, gave us 4 points. Keontae came in the game, made a few shots. Jair was scoring around the basket. So we're like that. We're hard to guard. But when we're not playing defense and we're not scoring, no matter who you're playing against, it's going to be tough.
It was 39-30 at the break, Coach. And let's talk about that first half. Again, I thought we controlled it for the most part. It was a 9-point game, but it felt like, at least to me, we were up 15, 16, 17. That's the way it felt. But on the scoreboard, it was a 9-point game.
Yeah, I mean, we were in control most of the game, to where the game was going our speed and our pace, the tempo of the game, and our style that we wanted to play. It was feeding into it, so that's why it probably felt like a larger lead because, we was controlling the tempo. But Bethune just did a great job of just staying right there, getting striking distance to try to come back and close the game out. You take a hats off to them. Them being shorthanded, but they still trying to find a way to compete.
When you talk about controlling the tempo, Coach, I know you like defense 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So when you're talking about controlling tempo, the lower the score, the assumption here is that the lower the score, the better, because that's the kind of the way you like it. But I thought 39-30 at the break, we were on pace for an 80-point game, and that's just kind of the way the game flowed. Do you like that up tempo pace, or do you just want the ground and pound, just slow it down, get the steals and the deflections, be aggressive, the intensity, and grind teams to a halt? Talk about that.
Well, man, it wasn't that we scored 39 points; is that we held them to 30, and then we could hold them to 30 again in the second half, which that'll be 60. So it wasn't us scoring 39, and then it's like for us is the higher those points get, the lower our chances of winning. When it's more of a low scoring, gritty, grimy type of game, physical, nip and tuck, in the 50s, 60s, low 70s, you know, we got to change. That more it's tough. It's tough for us.
Really? So the higher the score, the more concerned you're getting. The lower the score, the more comfortable you are.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Really? Okay. And because I just know how well you play defense, and you want to lock things down. In the second half, coach, talk about that because, again, with the exception of the last maybe couple of minutes of the game, they started to knock down some threes. And I thought we did a good job defending. I thought we did a good job on the boards, holding them to one shot. But then they started knocking down some threes to kind of extend it and make us hit free throws down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, Thomas made shots. Thomas made shots late. A lot of shots that he took late, but it was tough shots. But he made them. He made them. Like I think he's the all conference guy in the league. I think that he's the guy that could put his team on his back. And that's where they started to make that run. I mean, I think he finished the game with 28 points. But I think we just did a good job defensively on that post players. We talked about we really wanted to stop the big kid, and I think he finished the game with 4 points. So, when you're playing against a well offensive team in Bethune Cookman, you can't stop everything. You would like to just try to slow them down as much as possible. But I think that we took the piece out the game that we really wanted to take out, which was their post player.
Why when you look at what they did in that first meeting and the fact that they do have some pretty good scoring, and Trey Thomas, as you mentioned, he had 28 points in 37 minutes. What concerns you about Rozan, in which you had to feel like you had to slow him down in order to beat this team? What was it about his game that was so concerning?
Just his skill, how he is on the post, how versatile he is, how he's strong. He know how to post. He's really good. Like he knows how to post up. Like he holds his seal. And I try to teach my kids a little bit of this, but he just does a great job of just posting up, holding his seal.
Yeah, Rozan, 37 minutes, 4 points. He had 10 rebounds in the game. You talked about Trey Thomas, Seneca Willoughby had 16, and Khalil Kamara had 16. But then, of course, for us, coach, it was solid 1-2-3 punch with Jalik Gaines Wyatt, Marcus Tankersley, and Jai Benet, 10 points and 5 rebounds. But I thought a game like that, with it being so close, I thought a bunch of players stepped up. Daniel Braster with 4 points, Keontae Cornelius with 8, Davion Williams with 3, and then Pajot with 6. So every little thing mattered there with the others, with the exception of Gaines Wyatt, Tankersley, and Benet. They accounted for 57 of the 78 points. Coach, I talked with Tankersley the other day, and a Detroit Mercy transfer. Mike Davis was the coach there at Detroit Mercy, and he was explaining the story that once he was let go there, that you and Coach Davis had a conversation and you were able to get Tankersley. Talk about how all that evolved. I thought that was a pretty neat concept and a pretty neat relationship and conversation.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Davis just reached out to me and asked me that I need a guy at that position. And he was telling me about him and telling him how good of a kid he is, telling me about how good of a work ethic he has, and how talented he was. And I just started doing my research, and the more and more you watched him, he was like, yeah, you gotta let it have him. And so, and everything that Mike Davis said about Marcus is true. Just his character, his work ethic, his skill on the court. Everything. I mean, he's a really, really, really good kid. really good guy you really enjoy coaching. When you got him on the team, and he's gonna get out there and compete. He cares. He want to win. He's a gym rat. I mean, there's nothing I can say about Marcus since he's been here. That there's nothing but positive things for him, man.
I know you're a vocal person and you love everyone to be vocal and loud and be heard, but he's not that. Is that something that you're trying to get more out of? Or are you just saying, hey, that's who he is? We'll let his talking on the court do the work for him.
Well, actually, since he came here, he has been getting a lot better. But just being vocal. Since he got here, it has got a lot better. I mean, that's all you ask for, to get better every single day, no matter what category it is, no matter what it is, to keep getting better. And of course, I'm never going to not find ways to try to find ways to push each player to get better. So everybody has things that they need to work on. But that's one thing that I could say that he has improved on a lot since he came to Alcorn.
Yeah, he's definitely a good kid. I interviewed him the other day and just very soft spoken, but just lets his play on the court do the talking. Sorry, so you got the win and the gymnasium, the wood gym, which is a tough place to play and win. And so, what was the things that we had to improve on from Bethune that we had to take to Tallahassee to clean up?
We just really want to work on our ball screen coverage defense, and really, I think we got killed on ball screen coverage defense with Bethune, and we wanted to try to, make sure we lock down our ball screen coverage defense against FAMU. And I don't think that we got killed with the ball screen coverage defense, but I think that we just more so got killed dribbling off the bounce.
Well, let's talk about the Florida A&M game. You left Daytona after the game and drove straight to Tallahassee, so you had a little extra rest. And so you were saying Sunday and Monday, we got to come out and make a statement in the first 5 minutes of the game. And you really implored that. And we didn't come out in the first 5 minutes to start the game. I know that was tough.
No, and lately, with the unit, we have been out with some sense of urgency and coming out ready to go the first 5 minutes of the game. Unfortunately, against FAMU, we wasn't. I think we started off down 8, and we trailed the whole game. I tell my guys all the time, sometimes you can, start the game off slow the first 2 minutes, and you be fighting for the rest of the game. So it's so important to come out with some urgency, every single game, ready to go. But we just didn't. We didn't come out. We came out flat. We came out with they had more energy. They wanted more. They played with more intensity, and that's why they came up with the victory.
In being at shoot around Monday and even practice Sunday, I felt pretty good because these are the type of games right here, Coach, that in the past on the road, back against the wall, we're the hottest team in the league after knocking off Bethune-Cookman. We take it up another notch and we find a way to gut one out on the road. And I thought, even on social media, one guy was saying, how could you expect the Braves to win when FAMU was the hottest team in the league, winning 8 of 9, a May shot away from maybe winning 10 in a row? But I'm like, we've been in this situation where we've had to win these tough games on the road, and more times than not, we have. This year has been tough. At Texas Southern, a tough loss. At Southern, a tough loss. Obviously, last night, a tough loss. But in the past, Coach, your team has found a way to win these grimy, tough road games with your back against the wall. And I felt like with all the lessons learned that we would do that. And just inexplicably, we came out flat and we didn't lead the whole game. We were fighting upstream the whole game. And when we did make a little bit of a push after being down 11, we cut it to 5 in the last couple of minutes. We were trying to prevent them from getting off a shot. We had some fouls to give. The next thing you know, we're down 8 at the break. The last couple of minutes, Benet's foul was upgraded to a flagrant, 2 free throws in the ball. I mean, I thought we were kind of in position, but then it kind of slipped away the last couple of minutes there as they went up 8 after being down 11 in the first half.
I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, I think that those free throws right there going towards the halftime was tough. Calling it a flagrant foul. But that's it worked sometimes. We came out flat. We had our chances to try to get ourselves back in the game. I wasn't too concerned about, how well FAMU was playing because we were playing well. We won the last 4 games in a row up until last night. Get overly focused on another team when your team is playing well, your team is practicing well, your team is preparing well. So I thought that we would be ready to play as well too. But we just didn't. We didn't. We came out flat, came out slow, gave up too many offensive rebounds. But some things that I got to look back on film to see what we need to do and correct, and start working on those things in practice.
Shakir O'Neal, the last name O'Neal, if you recognize it, he is the son of Shaquille O'Neal. He didn't start in the first meeting at the Whitney Arena. They made sure to get him off early, despite their two-headed monster that can score the basketball. How tough was that to kind of adjust and deal with? What problems did Shakir O'Neal? I just want to say Shaquille so badly, but I have to keep holding myself back. Shakir O'Neal, what were the challenges of trying to deal with him offensively?
I mean, a lot of his points just came off of just effort off his plays. He had 10. I think he had 12 points, 10 rebounds, halves, 3 offensive rebounds, putbacks, transition threes, running hard, running the floor hard. He just came out with some urgency. He came out ready to play, and it was nothing that they drew up for him. He came out and made an impact on the game itself. So, you take your hats off to a guy who don't need a lot of sets called for him. Just go out there and play hard.
Yeah, he was definitely a big factor in that game. You look at O'Neal, 12 points and 10 rebounds. And of course, what makes Florida A&M go is Milton Matthews and Young, those two. The challenges of trying to take one away. If you had to take one away, Milton Matthews or Young, which one was it? Or it was just pick your poison. You gotta figure out a way to take both away, or what was the challenge there of trying to at least slow one down, because Matthews had 26.
Yeah, we wanted to take both of them away and make somebody else beat us, but we just didn't do that. We didn't do that at all. Matthews made shots. A lot of shots that he made were tough shots, but he did a good job with the ball in the basket at a very high rate. So we get opportunity again to play them guys. We'll make some changes on how we want to guard, how we want to defend, and hopefully we find a way to be successful.
Talking with Braves head coach Landon Bussie, ladies and gentlemen, on the Landon Bussie program. Coach, you were talking about the 48 hours or the 24 hours or the shoot around the day of the game leading up to the game. As you kind of look back on how things unfolded, not getting off to a good start, you have a pretty good bead and feel. Practice the day of the game, which was really light, I thought, but you made it known that the shoot around the day of the game was going to be a little bit more intense as you honed in on Florida A&M. But you were saying after the game, you just felt like just some stuff was missing there, just the intensity, the vocal stuff, just all the stuff that you like to see. Just those pieces quite weren't there, leading into FAMU.
Yeah, I mean, it just wasn't. The attention to detail wasn't there. The urgency wasn't there. The focus wasn't there. You still try to find a way to go out there on the court, still try to find a way to put a plan together to win. But it starts with us just doing a better job. Understand focus. Every single practice, every shoot around, every film session. So we just got to do a better job of just locking in.
Did you kind of get a sense the first 5 minutes that it's going to be one of those nights, like all that stuff was coming into your head the first 5 minutes when we were down 11?
I mean, I just thought that we're going to get ourselves back in the game. I think we cut the lead to 4 coming out of halftime. I know that, we're gritty enough to find a way to at least put ourselves back in striking distance. So I think we cut the lead to 4 or something like 5. I'm not sure, but Overall, I mean, it's just like, it's one of them games where as though we didn't shoot the ball well. I think they shot the ball extremely well. And we was on the road, so it's tough.
We shot 57.7%, coach, on the road. You shoot 57% on the road, that's going to win you a lot of games. But the 3-point line wasn't kind to us, coach. We were minus 30. They were 10 of 24. And man, it just seemed like it was tough to get any threes to fall for us. We were 0 for 8 from beyond the arc. We normally get our share, but not Monday night.
Yeah, I mean, reason why we was 57%, we talked about we just want to drive them guys, drive them. Just keep driving them. I don't think a lot of guys in our conference can keep our guys out the paint. Especially Marcus and Jalik when they got their head down and being aggressive, and you got Jay in the post. Our strength is getting to the basket and getting points in the paint. So that's why we was able to shoot 57%, because we didn't shoot a lot of threes, but some of the threes that we did take that were open, we just got to convert and make.
And you made a change in the starting lineup. Josh Mitchell got to start for Michael Paggio. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to figure out what works, trying to figure out who's practicing well, who I feel as though have they're looking at like they're ready, who have some urgency, and you got to make a coaching decision right there to figure out what's best for the team to have a good start.
Yeah, we got off to a slow start and just couldn't quite. We didn't lead at all. They led from wire to wire. Well, Coach, you and I were talking the other day how you're very analytical. You keep up with the standings, and with the games played last night, Southern University got back on track. You look at these other games. We got a couple of big ones coming up, beginning with Jackson State. Just trying to get back on track and just try to stay in the middle of this number 2 seed. That's very much still up for grabs. The 1 seed, of course, but Southern University controls that. What's been the mood, today and yesterday in the airport? I know looking at the players, it was kind of tough, but there's still a lot of basketball in front of us. We got a big game against our number 1 rivals. We got 5 games left, still time to kind of make a push.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of basketball left to be played. We're still going to have our chance to finish top 2. We're 1 game away from first place. We got a rivalry game coming up in Jackson, a team who beat us on our home court. We got to have some toughness and with grit. Got to have some fight in us at this point. At this point, basketball and this late game is all about effort and toughness and fight. You got to have some fight. It's not about the X and O's. You got to have some grit. You got to have fight. So hopefully we can bounce back and respond while back up against the wall and get over to Jackson, Mississippi, all victorious.
With the exception of your first year, Coach, every year since, we've been in the championship hunt at this time of the year, playing at the top, near the top of the regular season race. But obviously we've lost some tough games. You have to look back at, you're thinking about, man, who's going to stay in this thing? Who's going to continue to grind? Because we've been used to being up there, trying to protect first place, being right there, second place, still pushing for first place. But we kind of know where we are right now in the standings. Some tough losses against some of the top teams in the conference, and FAMU is now the hottest team. I know you're going to keep grinding away, Coach. What's your mindset at this point? Because it's kind of different, with the exception of year 1 when you're starting to build it. But we've been in championship contention pretty much every year since.
The mindset hasn't changed. Still working and grinding, trying to secure the ultimate goal, and that's getting to the NCAA tournament. We got probably about 4 or 5 weeks left of basketball. I don't know, 3, 4, or 5 weeks left of basketball. Got a month left to figure out how can we continue to get better. What can we do to get some steam going into the tournament? Hopefully this loss right here wake us up a little bit and understand that we gotta stay focused. But overall, it's just like You know, you used to being at the top and competing for a regular season championship, but right now, I mean, you're competing for second place. It's not, too bad. It's not like you're competing to try to get in the SWAC tournament. So you got to find ways to find ways to still motivate your players.
I know fans are spoiled. When you're used to being on top, anything else is uncomfortable when you're used to being on top all the time. And we went, back to back regular season titles and all that. So, it is different, but sometimes these things happen and you live and learn from these things. And so let's see what happens here when we take on Jackson State. Coach, first conference game. It's been several weeks, 7 weeks or so since we've seen Jackson State. They've kind of had their ebbs and flows and up and downs. What is it going to take here to get a win in Jackson? What must we improve on that we didn't in that first meeting at home in which we lost by a possession?
I mean, I think that's just another game we came off slow and sluggish and came out flat. For it to be a rivalry game, we just came out, a little too passive. It came out a little too flat, and they came out with all the urgency. Of course, they got some pretty good basketball players over there, and Ruffin and Grant and Mansell. So we just got to find a way to try to be the physical team. Got to be the tougher team. You got to play with some urgency. It's going to be a tense game due to it's a rivalry game, but it's also a game that you're competing to try to get an edge on them guys to get better seeding in the tournament. So it's a lot up against the Sac State, and we just got to see how we come out and practice this week. And I feel as though whatever teams prepare the best, whatever team is the most focused, that's what win the basketball game.
That's Braves head coach Landon Bussie, ladies and gentlemen, and Braves basketball around 3 o'clock, 3:30 on Saturday. Coach, we appreciate it, and we'll be talking to you on Saturday.
All right, thank you.
That's the Landon Bussie program here on the Braves Sports Network. We'll talk to you on Saturday from Jackson State. Alcorn Braves basketball. For our producers, Jamario Brooks and Cedric Tillman, I'm Charles Edmond. Had some glitches there towards the end, but it's a big game for the Braves as they try to keep pace for the number 2 seed. We'll talk to you on Saturday, next Tuesday, another edition of the Landon Bussie and Nate Gilbert programs. I'm Charles Edmond. Have a good Tuesday. We'll talk to you on Saturday. So long.